These phone cases cost over $1 billion to make. Do you know why? Let's go find out. So right now we are here at Ashcloud, the manufacturer of phone cases for basically all the leading brands like Apple, Huawei, Samsung. But for confidentiality reasons, we can't tell you. So Alex, when is the 14 coming out?
Sorry? What are you talking?
Let's go check it out. So Alex, when a customer comes to you and they want to make a phone case, what kind of files or documents do they need to get the project started?
Usually, sometimes they will send us the real products or just the 3D file, and our 3D designer can handle the design. This guy is our industrial designer, and currently he's doing the fine-tune the products design, and maybe sometimes they will have some difficulty to production, so we can, our designer can handle detailed modification.
So once you and the customer have finalized all the little details, how do you get started?
Actually, the next step is the mold design for the mass production.
All right, let's go take a look. Uh-oh, we can't video here. I'm really sorry. The video's ended. See you in the next video.
Okay, here is our design center, and actually this guy is doing all the mold design for us. It's just separate the different parts.
Basically, the mold has two halves, right?
Yeah, it is.
And then, I think basically you try to design the part so it works well with two halves coming apart, and then every time you have some feature that won't work with those two halves, then you have to have a slide.
Yeah, it is. So you can see we have both slides around the mold. And actually, this kind of mold, the designer needs a lot of experience at this field.
CAM, C-A-M, computer-aided machining. So in CAM, you design how the parts are cut. So you design what we call the tool path. So the path that the tool goes to cut all the different shapes. Wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, it is. So this is the drawing that our design center they just finished like this, and we will send this file into our mold shop to make all this mold real.
So you've designed the mold, you've designed the tooling paths, how you're going to cut all the parts, you've ordered the raw material. What happens next?
So the next step, we will put this raw material onto this grinding machine. The grinding machine will make the cube perfect, super flat, super precision, and so we can put it onto the CNC machine to make it next step.
So after you grind the surface flat, how accurate is it?
Accurate is 5 microns.
Wow. So 5 microns, I believe that's 0.005 millimeters. That's crazy accurate. All right, so this is the surface grinding machine. It has a magnetic bed that magnetically holds the parts down, and then it looks like it has a second magnetic wall that holds the block of steel inside. And then it surface grinds the top. So next, I'm going to show you all the different machines that make different parts of the mold that make the phone case.
So here is our rough milling to do the heavy job. So this machine will cut the excess the material, but just really rough.
So this is a CNC machine, which stands for numerically controlled machining. And what happens is, when they design the tool paths, it creates something called G code. It's called G code because all the commands start with a G, and these are basically the coordinates for each movement. So all those files were created in the CAM, and now this machine receives the file and steps through each step, and then moves the cutting tool based on the program. So after the metal is ground square, they place it in the CNC machine, and then they're going to do a rough cut where they're going to cut the basic shape out, and they're going to cut this shape oversized so that later they're going to send the parts over to the more accurate machine, and then they're going to do the fine detailed work. They need to cut the final shape inside the mold, the shape that makes the phone case. This needs to be extremely accurate. Now normally they would have to cut several times and check it and then cut again, but this machine is extremely accurate. It's accurate up to 2 microns. This machine costs approximately $5 million US. There's a bunch of things about this machine that are really interesting, and this particular machine has an automatic tool changing system. And here you can see which tools go on what positions. All the machines behind me cut metal by rotating a cutting tool, and because of this there's always going to be some radius. But many times on phone cases there's a square or rectangular hole, and the question is, how do you cut a square hole? So the way they can cut a square hole is first they cut a copper block, and then later I'll show you how they use the copper block to eat through the metal. So after the copper block is finished, we put it inside the EDM machine. So after the copper block is finished, they place it into this magazine, and they can load the machine up with different shapes that it will use, and then it brings the copper block over through a special process that we call EDM, which stands for electric discharge machining. And this system is very accurate. How accurate is it, Alex?
It's around 1 micron.
So 0.001 millimeters. So I really don't know how the EDM process works. If you do, leave a note in the comments. Alex, can you explain how this machine is different from the other machines we just saw?
The other machine that we just saw is the Think EDM, but this one we call it a wire EDM. What is wire EDM? Actually, we use very thin copper wire cut into the steel. So that with this kind of machine, we can cut very straight edge.
Using the wire EDM process, they're able to cut different parts of the mold. Here you can see they cut out some plugs that are used to fill the hole where the camera goes. We've now made the very accurate small parts. How do we know if they're really accurate or not?
Oh, we need to do the measurement to ensure everything is as we expect, as we design.
So how are you going to measure so accurately? Because you need to measure like close to 1 micron.
So the CMM machine comes out. Let's see.
Ooh, it's a little bit chilly in here.
Really? Because we need to control the temperature to ensure all the object before the measurement will be controlled into the precise, consistent
geometry, right?
Geometry.
So basically, just any change in temperature, the parts will get warmer and expand, or get cool and shrink. So if you're going to measure it accurately, you've got to keep it at an accurate temperature.
Exactly.
So, all right, so let's see how we measure the parts.
This machine, we call it the CMM. So this CMM machine have giant robot arms, and with a very tiny probe. The probe can will touch this object everywhere. So, and later with this computer, it can measure the distance between each other very precisely.
Dimension on every side, I believe?
It is, yeah.
So assuming that all the dimensions are correct, what happens next?
Next, we will move this object into our assembly area. So we will assemble the whole mold together.
So now we can finally make the mold.
Yeah, this area is our assembly area. We will put all these objects together into the mold. You can see here we have a half-finished mold here. We have 4 slices around it.
So this looks very complicated. How do you know how to put all the parts together?
Yeah, if our workers they are not really familiar with this, we can show them with this AR file, so they can see everything in explode.
That is really impressive.
Yeah.
After everything is put together and it's been checked and it looks like it's going to work perfectly,
Yeah.
what do we do next?
So next we will put into the injection machine to do the pioneer test to see if everything works okay. So then we can do the mass production.
So let's go see how the plastic injection is done. Now that we've learned about the mold, we should talk about what we put inside the mold.
Yeah, here we can see all kinds of different material. For example, like this is ABS. ABS, the property is inexpensive and very strong. And this is the TPU. TPU, we can make some soft the products, so we just have a flexibility to make the touch is better. In the bottom, this is the PC, and in the edge is the TPU. So we mix these two different materials together. So let's go to see some more details. So we can see here we can have a lot of different material. The raw material is look like this. Tiny small plastic particles into the injection machine. We will the heater will melt all these plastics and into the liquid, and finally we will inject all this plastic into the mold. Move these pins very easily next to the injection machine. So when we need to exchange the different material, it's really quick to just do it in a few seconds.
All right, let's go take a look. So first, the plastic in this hopper is vacuumed up through this hose and goes into the hopper. Now the hopper pre-treats the plastic by first heating it, and this special jacket right here is a heating jacket that heats up all the plastic, and this device right here blows compressed air onto the plastic, and the thing that's unique about compressed air is that it's very dry. So it dries the plastic out. And this is important to remove all the moisture from the plastic because it creates instability in the mold process. So potentially the water can boil out, but it also causes issues with heat because as the water boils, it cools the parts down. So that's why they have to remove all the moisture as much as possible from the plastic.
Here we have a lot of heater inside, and we have a hydraulic press to push all this melted plastic into the mold. So here you can see this area is moving, so it keeps the plastic into the mold.
You can even see some plastic leaking out right here. This machine's having a bad day.
Yeah, sometimes they have air or something. They have to purge the.
Oh, I see. Yeah. They have to purge the machine.
Yeah, it is a purge. Yeah.
And here you can see the phone case being made. The mold is pushed together by a giant hydraulic ram, and then the plastic is injected into the mold, and then after it cures or cools, the mold comes apart, and now the robot arm comes down and grabs the phone case. Unique phone case. It's got a rigid back and a soft, flexible sides, and the way they make it is they keep the rigid material here. The robot will come and grab it, and it will blow on it in case it accidentally grabs multiple pieces. Then it places it on this stage, and it will push the piece to the side. So when the robot comes down to grab it, it can accurately grab it and accurately place it into the mold. There's often a few more steps to make the phone case perfect. So after the parts come out of the mold, this guy here uses a die cutter to cut out this window for the camera on the phone case. And then after that, this lady flame polishes the parts, because after the parts come out of the mold, they often have something called flash. Because as the two parts of the mold come together, right where that line is, sometimes a little bit of plastic leaks out, and this lady is removing that little bit of plastic with the fire. And after that, the part is pretty much done and ready to be packaged. So now that the phone cases are finished, they're being packed up, ready to go to the customer like you. Alex, I've noticed a lot of displays in almost every room in the factory, including the offices and the design area, and a lot of iPads. Can you please tell me more about this?
Because we have a lot of iPads with we craft this app to manage our entire company. This is very important software and product for Ashcloud. So let's go to the meeting room, I will tell you more. Yeah, this is the app I just mentioned. We call it the Ashcloud app management system. Why we make this app? Because most of our orders is small quantity orders. To handle all these kind of different small quantity order is very complicated. So without this IT system, it's very hard to run this kind of factory in nowadays. We have an assistant to do a lot of for the administration of the entire company. With this kind of software, we put this app into the mobile device. So the mobile device, everyone can handle to access this different the information in real time.
So this is really impressive. You've made your own custom app just for your own company, just the way you want it, to manage all of the assets inside of the company, all of the employees, all the materials, all the orders, all in one app. That is amazing. So I have one question. When we were walking around the factory, I noticed on some of the displays, it showed like a snail, and other ones it showed maybe a rabbit or even a rabbit on a bicycle. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. We can see this information in the iPad as well. For example, this is the rabbit. It means at that factory floor, all the people can, if their efficiency is higher than we expect, there will be a rabbit. If today they have some difficulty to produce the products, actually there will be a snail. It means the efficiency is not as we expect. So sometimes we can identify how the production is good or bad today. So you can see we have a rabbit here. So how to calculate the rabbit, because we know how many people working at that floor, and we also know how much we have to pay their salary. So we also have this system. We know how much product they produce today. So we can calculate how much they can earn for the company and how much we spend on them. So we can compare these two numbers, and we can get the rabbit or the snail.
Wow, this is really remarkable. I've been really impressed by the quality of all the machines in the factory, the attention to detail, and this is like a new level of attention to detail that you now have created your own app to manage all of the company assets. That's really remarkable.
Yeah, and also a lot of people, they have this kind of demand. Now we put this app in the App Store, so a lot of people, they also download this app. They start to using this app to help them to work more efficient.
Wow, that's really remarkable. So one of your products is phone cases, but now you have another company, and the product is this software, and it's now available to other factories and companies that have a lot of assets and complicated procedures. So that is really interesting. So Alex, thank you so much for the tour. I'm really impressed with the entire factory.
Cool. I hope you enjoy it.
So I have one last question. How much money does it take to create an iPhone when you include all the machines?
It could take around billions to make it.
Wow, I had no idea how much money it takes just to make a phone case.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
By the way, I still have a special gift for you. The iPhone 13 Pro Max cases. Okay. Okay. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Thanks. All right. For those who like this video, please subscribe so you can see the next video. And if you really liked it, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment.